Hi folks, welcome to part 2 of the mini album tutorial. Last tutorial I showed you how to create the pages and the pockets and the flaps like these. And if you're coming today and you're actually doing this with me, you should have all of these pages done. So they should look like this. And what I do is I put them in order as follows. So I do a pocket page with the flap facing you and flip it over so you can see the magneted page. And then I take the next bigger page, so it has to be the pocket flap first, and then this page with its flat facing you, so when you flip the page over you have, actually is that how I did this one? No, I am so sorry, I did it backwards. So you will have it facing you this direction, so you can fold it open from the right, and this page will be flat on this side. So this pocket page will also be flat like this, so it pulls out and flipped over, and then this page again, I did have them right, they were just backwards. So this will be like a right hand page, so it'll be flip like this and like this, and this one goes, do I have this one wrong too? Oh, no, I don't, sorry, goes this direction, sorry folks, and then this direction. So now you should have all your pages decorated and in a row like that. Now you can just put those aside. What we're going to do next is we're actually going to build the page gussets. And I always like to do 3/8 of an inch wide because my score tape is 1/4 of an inch. And that gives me room to decorate the pages. Now this will be a 5x5 mini album with a 3-inch binding. The spine will be 3 inches. So what I want you to do next is to go ahead and get your solid paper that we built the pages out of initially. And I want you to cut it at 4 3/4, sorry folks, can you see that? By 10 1/4. And then I want you to lay it this direction onto your scoreboard. Now, with that being said, you are going to score the very first mark at 1 inch. 1 inch, this is your inside flap, and then the inch on the back end will be your backside flap. Now you're going to go all the way across here. So I always like to do my 1 inch mark first just to make sure, and I'd like to do my inch mark at the back. And this inch mark in this instance will be 9 1/2 3/8. So score at 9 3/8 and at 1 inch. And then from that 1 inch mark, do every 3/8 all the way across. So it should look scored like this. Can you see that? Good time to pause to do that, and then come back. I'm about to show you how we fold them. So what we're going to do is I'm going to fold a couple and share with you how I do it. And I'm going to mark on this. Sorry folks, I'm going to mark on this. I was trying to anchor my camera. There we go. Okay, sorry folks. I'm going to mark on this so you know where you're going to fold. So what I always do is I always say, like I said, I have them marked on here. So G is for gusset, P is for page. See how that works? So this is your gusset. These two slats right here are your page, your gusset and your page. So you have all the way down to 7 pages. So what I always do is on the very first P of every line, I like to put a piece of score tape, just like so. Burnish it down, make sure I burnish them at the end. Skip the P, skip the G, and do the first P on the other side. Marking them will help you if you've never done this before, so you can make sure that it is exactly the right amount of space. Because sometimes I'll even, like the first one I did before I did this video was ahead of schedule. See, like I did it a little bigger there. But I'm going to only show you 3, so you can then continue. So skip the G, do the very first P, skip the P. So it'll look like G, PG, 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 and so on and so forth. So now what I like to do is I do like to burnish it in so the tape's really nice and strong. And you can use ATG tape if you want to, if you're not going to overly embellish the book, but I would prefer that you use a score tape because it is stronger and it'll help the pages stay together. So what I like to do is unroll the score tape or take the tape off, and that P line and these P's, you're going to now fold the 2 P's together and burnish it. And then you're going to fold this direction. So now you see the 2 G's, just like that. Okay? And you're going to go to the next, and you're going to fold those 2 P's together, inward. And then you're going to fold this one back out like that. So now you still see the 3 G's. Now, when you flip it over, you want to fold them both directions so you can see them. And this creates your page flaps, just like this. So here's another good time to pause and go through and mark your pages as G, P, P, G, P, P. Unscore tape your P's, fold them together so you only see the G markings. Just all the G's all the way across when you're finished. And when you are finished, it should look like this. Just like this. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages. And then you have your 3/8 of an inch gussets here. And then you have your flaps that go onto the insides of your covers. So really, really, really cool. Now, once you've got it to where it looks like this, you are then going to take your score tape again, and you are going to score tape on both sides of each of these flaps. Both sides, okay? I'm going to do 3 now. I'll do the rest later so you guys can have time to do that. It's another time a good time to pause, because this is kind of a work in progress. This is actually, I think, is probably the easiest part of the album. I think building the pages is actually the hardest. So we are going to do this, and this is all we're going to do for this tutorial on this one. And then we're going to build the cover here in a minute. So the cover is really simple. So now that you've got, so just imagine there's score tape on this side and the opposite side. So I'm going to do these first ones I did with score tape really quickly, just so I can show you what we're going to do next. So I'm going to go ahead and score tape on these 2 sides as well, so you can see what we do, because we have to alleviate bulk for the pages. So I'm going to show you, after we score tape a few of these, how we do that. So we are going to then flip it this direction, and from that corner, go in and cut it at a curve on both sides, okay? Because that'll alleviate a lot of the bulk. So the pages can just slide right over and glue. These ones, however, are going to be fun, because see, this is what we're going to glue over. We're actually going to take these and glue them over. So if you wanted to step a jump and a skip ahead, you could do that if you wanted. And with these ones, it's going to be the same thing. We're going to pull the sleeve out and go inside here and glue down. Pretty simple. So now that you've got these done, then I always like to turn it over. After you've got all these pages with your score tape, you are going to turn it over, and you are going to score tape all along the back. I like to do 2 on the flaps, and then you're going to do, I like to bend them because they can bend flat, and then I like to do 1 per gusset, because this is what's going to stick to the inside of your bookbinding. Now, once you get all those scored, then you are going to do the same thing with this flap. You're going to start from that last fold and cut inward to alleviate that bulk, okay? Because that is your flap. It will be covered with design paper, but you do want that flap cut. All right, so pause again, and you can come back to this again. I will have this finished for the next video, because I'm going to show you how to attach and such. But what we're going to do next is we're actually going to build the cover. Now, the cover is chipboard. Now, you don't have to use chipboard if you're unable to get your hands on it. You can also use cereal boxes, or the back pages, that thick back page of a scrapbook album. You can also use that. Sorry, you guys can see my little thing. So what you want to cut these at is 5.5 by 5.5, and you need 2 of those. And then this one needs to be, or I'm so sorry, not 5.5. 5 by 5. And then this needs to be 5 inches by 3 inches, okay? And what we're going to do next is pretty fun. And this is how I bind them together. And it makes it really simple. I am going to wet down my sponge, though, because that is very helpful. Sorry, folks. I actually was unprepared for that. I forgot about my sponge. So you're going to take your 11 by 8 or your 12 by 12 sheets, and you're going to use the same color that you did on the front or on your pages. And what I like to do is I like to score tape one side all the way down, And then I like to score tape the other side all the way down. Now, it can be the 12 by 12 or the 11 by 11 or 8 by 11. It does not really matter. But you do want to score tape both sides. I do like to score tape both sides. So you're going to unscore tape them, or take the sticky off so it's now sticky on both of them. And I'm going to flip one over, fix the little tapey part there so it's not sticking out. I over taped. And you're going to overlap just a hair overlap. So that way you have two put together, because the book is really, 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 really big. Well, it's not really big, but you're going to want to take this piece, this is your spine, and you're going to want to take your spine, and I like to use score tape on this. I could show you an advanced way to do this, but I don't actually have any more of those tack envelopes from the post office. So this will be fine as long as you follow the technique with the sponge, which is really important. So now that you've got those on, burnish them in really good. Unscore them. This will be really easy for you. Should be really easy and simple. And to alleviate wasting paper, I actually like to put it as high up as I can. So this center line right here, it's actually on the other side. So you want to try to get, well, let's turn it over and see what the other side looks like. Might be a little easier. Okay, you kind of want to try to center that line into this. So I actually do want to do it on the other side, because this is the prettier side. They're patterned. They're kind of weird. They're kind of solid on the side and rough on the other. So you want to kind of center this at least 1 inch to 1.5 inches down from that seam. So you want to center it down and stick it down. And you can burnish it. You won't see the chipboard anyway, so it's okay. Sorry for the wiggle wiggle. You're going to do the same thing with your 5x5s, and I'll show you how I do it. And we're actually doing this together, so this is going to be my cover. I'm not pre-doing this. I thought about it, and I thought, no, let's do something fun together, because the other pieces I know you guys are going to end up pausing and finishing the gussets at least. Now you can do 1/4 inch on your gussets, but I like to do 3/4 inch because I am one of those crazy ladies that likes to over embellish. So the next video will be actually how to insert our pages into the book, and extra alternatives on how to, if you want to add charms to the spine and other such things. So we're going to burnish these and get those all done. Get them all nice and sticky, sticky, sticky. Okay. Now go ahead and take all the sticky off. I wish I had nails sometimes. This would be so much easier. I could use a tool, but it would take just as long realistically for me. I'm not that smooth yet. I'm kind of a messy crafter. All right, so stick your little sticky down. And what I like to do is I actually like to take, well, I like to take a ruler. If I can find, oh, there it is. I like to take my ruler and kind of put an edge right there to give me that little bit of room. See how it gives almost that exact 1/8 inch? Well, that's perfect. So put it down and just burnish it in really good. And we're going to do the other side the same way. And then we're going to cut, and then we're going to piece it together, and it's going to be super cute. I cannot wait. And then that'll be fun for you because you get to build your book cover. Oh, come on. Score tape, score tape, score tape. It's so sticky. Okay. Again, with your ruler, make sure that there's no sticky sticking out. Get your ruler out and go to this side and stick it down and burnish it. So, should look like this. Now that that's all done, then you are going to take your cutter and we're going to cut the other paper around it down because we really don't need it that long, but I like to have the seam in the center of the spine because I think that it actually looks better that way. So you're going to want to take one side and of course just cut it down to where you have just enough to wrap the side of your book. Do the other side because it is really long. Just put it in your cutter and cut it down. And this is where you're going to either want spray or a something. You're going to want a something. And this one is actually quite too long for my cutter, so I will be cutting this by hand, which is fine because you will not see it anyway once the book is covered. So we'll just cut this by hand. Sorry, I'm out of frame, so you can't even see what I was just doing. So we're just going to cut that like that. All right, so now that you have that done, I hope this angle is good for you folks. I was really, really, really trying to keep myself in frame. I think that might be a little better. Okay, so now that we've got this done, we are going to take our score tape again, and you're going to score tape on all 4 sides, all the way to the end. I like to do double, just to be safe. So I'm going to do the top and the bottom first, just to be safe. Do all 4 sides. Okay. And I do like to do the sides here too. And everybody does it their own way, but this is how I've always done it. I've watched numerous tutorials on how to do these, and there's so many different ways. It's just personal preference at that choice, or at that point. So burnish them down. Can't find my score tool at the moment. That's what happens when you get into the mode. You have no idea where your stuff is. There she be. Okay. Now, before you fold this into your book, you're going to take your scissors, and let's get a bigger pair. You are going to, see that corner right there? You're going to want to alleviate some bulk. So what I like to do is I like to go just a little under the corner, so the corner would match all the way up here. Just go just a little tiny under, and go inward. And I like to go outward, if that makes any sense. Just a little outward, just like that. So we are going to be able to cover the side pieces. And you can do it either which way you see fit, but I really like to cut it just like that at an angle, because then I can get my book cover in. Sorry, I keep getting out of frame. Okay. And cut this side kind of the same way. A little closer to the edge. You don't want to get too close to the edge, but leave a little bit over, and I'll show you why. So, now that you've got that done, what I like to do is I like to turn it over. Well, go like this a little bit and just kind of give it a little bit of a fold. Just a little bit of a fold. Take something like wet, a sponge or a wash rag or something, and just kind of lightly go over that spine piece and shape it into place so it does not crack the paper. Especially these recollections papers and stuff of that nature, they will actually shred. And it dries clear, but you will just want to make sure that you get that pretty good and not super sopping wet, but just enough to where when you fold the paper line, it does not fray or crack that paper. So you want to go ahead and maybe pause and do that on all 4 corners before we do anything else, okay? So we're going to do this one. Just give it a little bit of a fold line, and then fold it all the way down. This paper I'm using is actually pretty good paper. So it's not super bad as the cracking part of it, but boy, I've used paper that just cracks. And I know people that use a spray bottle, but I personally just don't. Yeah, it's just not my favorite. So you also want to do that to the spine. So just give a little fold line and then get it a little wet and fold it. I like to fold all these. You're going to end up folding them twice, but make sure that that's folded in. And then you want to fold this one just a little, get it wet, and then fold it in. And no need to burnish this. Just fold it to where it leaves so we know it's folded, okay? Now, I always like to do my top flaps and my bottom flaps first. So go ahead and unscore tape, or take the sticky off, and we're going to do one side first. So do the same thing as you did with your book. Fold it over, and lay it flat, and then go to this side and burnish it in. Really, 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 really good. You're going to do the same thing to this side. And you're going to fold it over, and then burnish it so it stays really nice and strong. Now, here's where those corners come into play. So what I like to do is I just like to take my finger and push them in like this on all 4 sides. It'll make it to where it's not super pointy and sharp, okay? because it can get really sharp. And if you do mess up, which I do a lot, just so you know, I might mess up today. You might see the flaps. Oh, you won't today. You can cover it with design paper. No one will see. So now that you've got those pushed in, then you can now do your side flaps. And just do the same thing like I showed. So now it should look like this. Pretty even, and the flaps are not super pointy. The edges are not pointy, which is awesome. So they won't like poke a little kid if they wanted to play with this book. Same thing with this guy. Fold it over and then burnish it. And it should look like that. Now that we've got extra paper here, what I like to do is I like to get a little wet on the inside right here. And then I'm going to take my score, my bone folder, and I'm going to score those papers on both sides in between those little tiny sleeves right there. And then I'm going to slowly fold in and fold all the way over. Don't force it, just go slow. Same with this side. Make sure it's a good score and fold it inward until it's closed, but don't force too much. See, I heard cracking, so you want to go slow. All right, so now you have your book. You have your cover. So come back in 2 days, which will be Monday, and I will share with you how we will be attaching our pages to this, because we're going to attach our pages next, and then I will show how you put it into the book. So thanks, folks, for coming. I hope this is a help for you. I'm not as nervous today now that I'm in mini album mode. This is a lot of fun, but be sure, just one more time, I'm going to double check with you. Be sure that your pages, literally the first page needs to face you with the flap, okay? Then flip it over, and then the next page needs to have this pull-out flap this direction, so it pulls to the right. So then when you flip it over, same thing, okay? So just make sure you have them just like that. All right, really simple. Yeah, these will be super fun, and I do believe I did already glue. Oh, I did. There's something else you guys need to do. I almost forgot. Okay. You know how the envelope has flaps like this, right? Okay. You actually need to glue one side. So you actually need to glue this side. So if this is the page it's facing you, this is what's going to be attached to the spine. You need to glue the insides of these together, okay? So don't forget to do that only on one side, the side that is not going to be glued in. So you want to glue, well, if I can glue it. My tape runner doesn't like this paper bag very well. So you do want to glue it. I'm just going to use some Tombow. I know it works. And then you just want to close it and glue it shut. So that way that side doesn't open, and this is the side that does, because this is the side that's going to be put down into your flaps. All right, folks. Thank you for coming today, and I will see you in 2 days. And next up is actually going to be my Not-So-Secret Sister friend mail and an angel kiss that I got from my group. So I'm really excited to share those with you, and I hope this is a help for you. And I can't wait to see you on Monday. Happy crafting!